luck. Believe it or not, luck does play an important part in most of our lives. I know there's this saying, oh, people make their own luck, don't rely on luck. I'm not talking about the game of chance here. I'm just talking about fortune, being born in the right place. If you're reading this book or listening to any of my podcasts, or you're one of my subscribers on Spotify, you're already lucky compared to most of the people in the world. You know, there are billions of people living in poverty, and people who can't even afford to get a phone or get involved with any technology. So living in the West, we are unbelievably lucky. And in a sense, I was just born here. You know, I was born in the UK. So, you know, I had free schooling, free healthcare, and, you know, my parents, when they had fallen hard times, the government would help them. You know, they had housing, they had a roof over their head. And yet, a lot of people in this country think, oh, the country is no good, and blah, 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 and finish. You know, never stop complaining about the country. I know things have changed, but every country has changed in the last 50 years. You can't expect things to be like they were in the 1950s. But we are extraordinarily lucky in Europe and America and countries like that to just be born here. And we know that people are coming across the oceans in rafts and rubber dinghies just to get here, just to set foot here. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, they want benefits and that sort of thing, but a lot of people don't. You know, they just, once they're here, they actually disappear into the system and then go off and do their own thing. And they can live better here on the black economy doing cash jobs than they can wherever they came from. Okay, and so that's the first thing. Now, billionaires, actually, if you actually look at the life stories of some of the billionaires like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and a lot of people who were born in certain parts of the country, they were actually quite lucky. Bill Gates went to a school where they had one of the first sort of computer studies, and he met his partner there, Steve Wozniak. I think it's Steve Wozniak, and you know, they formed this friendship, and of course they took advantage of their luck, right? And they worked hard, you know, to get Microsoft off the ground. Even that was a little bit lucky how IBM came to see Microsoft and give them that extraordinary contract that put the Microsoft operating systems into all IBM computers, and then became known as an IBM compatible computer, and then just spread like wildfire. Of course, they had to take advantage of it, you know. But some people say they didn't even invent that software. I don't know. So, you know, sometimes people are born in the right place, or, you know, their parents had you know, the foresight to move to an area, and suddenly, you know, things took off for them. Now, as I said, you need to take advantage. When good fortune arrives, you need to take advantage of it. But studies show that people who are lucky have certain traits. And I remember reading a book years ago called The Luck Factor. Dr. Richard Wiseman, who was a lecturer in those days at the same university I went to, University of Hertfordshire. And he goes through a lot of stuff. I'm going to go through that in my supporter content. But generally, look, luckier people tend to be more positive and outgoing. They tend to be glass half full type of people. You know what I mean? The glass is either half empty or it's half full. They tend to look on, let's say they look on the bright side. Now, some, you know, negative people might say, oh, it's all right for them. It's all right for them, saying they look on the bright side. Everything's going well for them. But which came first? You know, if they're always looking on the dark side and always expecting the worst, that's what they would tend to get. And it's only when people change their mindset that things sometimes start to change for them. And they also show gratitude. They're grateful for their life and all the things, and just say being born in the right country, for instance. Now, of course, you have to take action on things. As the old saying goes, you can't win a prize if you don't buy a ticket, right? So you need to take action, and lucky people or luckier people tend to be action takers. So look, if you want more of this type of content, I do have a supporters club on Spotify. That's where I put some of these podcasts out on Spotify. And for less than the price of a cup of coffee every month, you can get more exclusive content, extra bonuses such as access to my one-day workshop, and I'll give you copies of my 2 books. One of them, I've got one to hand here, Borrow and Grow Rich. A great book. It's really packed with stuff that I've learned over my life on how you can use leverage to get wealthier faster, and how that's been used for thousands of years. So do check that out, and I will hopefully see you there. So that's my supporters club on Spotify for less than a price of a coffee, a Starbucks every month, and you'll get pretty much daily content, lots of other stuff as well, and I hope to see you there.